Listen, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make a lot of people very uncomfortable. But somebody has to say it, and that somebody is me. Generation Z is headed for financial disaster on a scale we've never seen before. And the worst part? They have no idea it's coming. I'm Kevin O'Leary, and I've been investing for over 40 years. I've seen every boom, every bust, every generation's financial mistakes, but what I'm witnessing with Gen Z right now terrifies me more than the dot-com crash, more than 2008, more than any market collapse I've lived through. Because this isn't just about losing money in the stock market. This is about an entire generation systematically destroying their financial future with their own hands. Before I break down exactly how this generation is sleepwalking into poverty, I need you to do something right now. If you're serious about your financial future, if you want to avoid becoming another statistic, hit that subscribe button immediately. Join this community of people who understand that money doesn't care about your feelings, your excuses, or your social media following. We're building something here, a group of individuals who choose reality over fantasy. So subscribe now, because what I'm about to tell you could save you from decades of financial misery. Now, let me start with a statistic that should wake everyone up. The average Gen Z adult has saved exactly $11,250 for retirement. $11,000. Do you know what that gets you? Maybe 6 months of rent in a decent city. Meanwhile, the average baby boomer at the same age had already accumulated the equivalent of $63,000 in today's dollars. That's nearly 6 times more. And that was during an era when information wasn't freely available, when you couldn't learn about investing from your phone, when financial education was limited to expensive courses or books. Gen Z has every advantage their grandparents didn't have, and they're still failing spectacularly. But here's what really makes me angry. It's not just that they're not saving money, it's that they're actively throwing it away on the dumbest financial decisions I've ever witnessed. And the first catastrophic mistake they're making is taking financial advice from TikTok influencers who couldn't balance a checkbook if their lives depended on it. I watch these kids get their investment advice from 19-year-old college dropouts who made one lucky trade and suddenly think they're the next Warren Buffett. These influencers are telling young people to put their entire savings into meme stocks, to buy crypto because it only goes up, to day trade options with money they borrowed from their parents. It's financial suicide wrapped in trendy editing and catchy music, and the kids are eating it up like candy. Let me tell you something about financial advice. Real financial advisors, the ones who actually build wealth, don't dance on camera. They don't promise you'll get rich quick. They don't tell you that investing is easy or fun or glamorous. They tell you it's boring, it takes decades, and it requires discipline. But boring doesn't get likes. Boring doesn't go viral. So instead, these young people are getting their investment education from entertainers, not experts. I've been on television for years, and I can spot a charlatan from a mile away. These TikTok financial gurus are selling dreams, not strategies. They're selling hope, not reality. And when the market inevitably turns against their followers, where do you think these influencers will be? They'll be counting their ad revenue while their audience counts their losses. The second massive mistake Gen Z is making is even more insidious. They've convinced themselves that the internet has created entirely new ways to make money that don't require traditional work or skills. I'm talking about the OnlyFans economy, the influencer fantasy, the belief that you can build a career out of posting content online. Now, I'm not here to judge anyone's moral choices. That's not my business. But I am here to talk about financial reality. And the financial reality is that for every person making real money on OnlyFans, there are thousands making less than minimum wage. For every successful YouTuber or Instagram influencer, there are millions posting into the void, earning nothing while spending hours of their day creating content that nobody watches. But the statistics don't matter to these kids because they've been fed this mythology that they're all going to be the exception. They all think they're going to be the next big thing. They're spending their 20s, the most crucial wealth-building decade of their lives, chasing internet fame instead of building real skills, real careers, and real wealth. I had a 23-year-old pitch me a business last month. His entire business model was based on becoming a social media influencer and then selling courses about becoming a social media influencer. When I asked him, what happens if the algorithm changes, if the platform disappears, if trends move on, he looked at me like I was crazy. He had no backup plan, no real skills, no understanding that the internet economy is the most unstable, unpredictable way to make a living that has ever existed. Here's what these young people don't understand. The internet doesn't owe you a living. Social media platforms don't care about your financial future. They care about engagement, advertising revenue, and keeping you addicted to their apps. The moment you stop being profitable to them, you disappear. There's no pension plan for influencers. There's no 401k for YouTubers. There's no job security in viral videos. But the third mistake is where things get really dangerous, and this is where I start to lose my patience entirely. Generation Z has turned cryptocurrency into a casino, and they don't even realize they're the house's favorite customers. I'm not against cryptocurrency. I own Bitcoin. I understand blockchain technology. What I'm against is treating crypto like a lottery ticket, which is exactly what most young people are doing. They're not investing in cryptocurrency. They're gambling with it. They're buying Dogecoin because Elon Musk tweeted about it. They're throwing their rent money into random altcoins because some Reddit forum told them it was going to the moon. Do you know what the average crypto investor under 25 has lost in the past 2 years? Over $7,000. $7,000 that could have been invested in boring, stable, dividend-paying stocks. $7,000 that could have been the foundation of a real investment portfolio. Instead, it's gone, evaporated, transferred to smarter investors who knew exactly what these kids were going to do. And here's the part that really makes me sick. When I try to explain to young people that they're gambling, not investing, they tell me I don't understand. They tell me I'm too old, that I don't get the new economy, that I'm missing out on the future. Wrong. I understand perfectly. I understand that every generation thinks they've discovered something their parents didn't know. I understand that young people want to believe there are shortcuts to wealth, and I understand that the crypto market is designed to separate inexperienced investors from their money as efficiently as possible. Let me share something with you that might surprise these crypto enthusiasts. The biggest winners in cryptocurrency aren't the young day traders posting their gains on social media. They're institutional investors, hedge funds, and wealthy individuals who understand risk management, who invest small percentages of their portfolios, and who don't bet their future on digital coins. The kids buying crypto with their student loan money aren't early adopters. They're exit liquidity for smart money. Now, the fourth mistake might be the most psychologically damaging, and it's something that didn't exist for previous generations. Gen Z has developed what I call quiet quitting mentality, and it's going to destroy their earning potential for decades to come. I watch these young people enter the workforce with the attitude that work is supposed to be fun, fulfilling, and immediately rewarding. They think they should love their job, that they should be passionate about their career, that work should feel like play. And when reality hits, when they discover that most jobs involve doing things you don't want to do for people you might not like, they check out mentally. They do the absolute minimum required not to get fired. Here's what they don't understand. Every successful person I know, including myself, spent years doing jobs they didn't love, working for people they didn't like, building skills they didn't think they needed. That's not exploitation. That's education. That's how you learn what you're good at, what you're not good at, and what you need to improve. But Gen Z has been told they're special, that they deserve better, that they shouldn't have to pay their dues like previous generations did. So instead of grinding, instead of learning, instead of building expertise, they coast, they work from home and do laundry during meetings. They treat their jobs like temporary inconveniences while they wait for their real life to start. What they don't realize is that their real life has already started. Every day you're not building skills, someone else is. Every day you're not networking, someone else is. Every day you're not proving your value, someone else is. And when the next recession hits, when companies start laying people off, guess who's going to go first? It's not going to be the people who made themselves indispensable. It's going to be the people who did just enough to get by. I've built multiple businesses, and I can tell you exactly what happens to employees who quiet quit. They get quiet fired, not officially because that would be illegal, but they stop getting the good projects. They stop getting promoted. They stop getting raises. They become invisible, and eventually they become unemployable. And this brings me to the fifth and final mistake, the one that ties all the others together. Gen Z has developed an addiction to instant gratification that is completely incompatible with building real wealth. I watch these young people spend $200 on DoorDash every month because cooking is too much work. They buy clothes they'll wear once because they saw them on Instagram. They lease cars they can't afford because they want to look successful. They live in apartments that cost 60% of their income because they need to be in the trendy part of town. They finance everything, from their phones to their furniture to their vacations, because they can't wait to save up for anything. This isn't living well. This is living beyond your means while telling yourself you deserve it. And the financial industry loves these customers because they're the most profitable customers in history. They pay interest on everything. They never pay off their balances, and they keep spending even when they're drowning in debt. Let me give you some numbers that should terrify every young person watching this. The average Gen Z adult has $3,700 in credit card debt. They're paying an average interest rate of 21%. If they make only minimum payments, it will take them over 30 years to pay off that debt, and they'll pay more than $15,000 in interest alone. That's $15,000 that could have been invested, that could have grown, that could have been the foundation of their financial future. But it gets worse, because while they're paying $15,000 in unnecessary interest, they're also missing out on the compound growth they could have earned by investing that money. If that $3,700 were invested in the stock market, earning a modest 8% annual return, it would grow to over $40,000 in 30 years. So their instant gratification spending isn't just costing them $15,000 in interest. It's costing them $40,000 in opportunity cost. That's a $55,000 mistake for a $3,700 purchase. And this is just one example. When you multiply this across all their spending decisions, when you add up all the interest they're paying, all the opportunities they're missing, all the wealth they're destroying, you start to understand why I say this generation is headed for financial disaster. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, Kevin, you don't understand. The economy is different now. Housing is too expensive. Education costs too much. We can't build wealth the way your generation did. And you know what? You're partially right. The economy is different. Some things are more expensive. But you know what hasn't changed? The fundamental principles of building wealth. You know what still works exactly the same way it did 50 years ago? Spending less than you earn, investing the difference, and being patient. The tools to build wealth are better than they've ever been. You can open a brokerage account in 5 minutes. You can buy index funds with no minimum investment. You can access information that would have cost thousands of dollars just a few decades ago. You have every advantage previous generations didn't have, and yet you're still making excuses. Here's the harsh truth that nobody wants to tell Generation Z. Your financial future is not the government's responsibility. It's not your employer's responsibility. It's not society's responsibility. It's your responsibility. And if you keep making the same mistakes, if you keep prioritizing short-term pleasure over long-term wealth, if you keep believing that the rules don't apply to you, you're going to wake up at 40 years old with nothing to show for 2 decades of earning potential. I've watched this movie before. I saw it with millennials who thought real estate would make them rich right before 2008. I saw it with Gen X who thought dot-com stocks were the future right before the bubble burst. Every generation thinks they're different, that they've found the secret their parents missed. But the fundamentals of wealth building haven't changed in centuries. Revenue minus expenses equals profit. Profit invested wisely over time equals wealth. It's not complicated, but it requires something this generation seems allergic to: delayed gratification and hard work. Stop getting your financial advice from social media. Find real professionals, real education. Start treating your career like it matters. Stop quiet quitting and start excelling. Build skills that make you indispensable. Stop gambling with cryptocurrency and start investing in profitable companies. Stop financing your lifestyle and start building your net worth. Most importantly, start thinking like an investor instead of a consumer. Every dollar you spend is a dollar you can't invest. Every dollar you invest can grow into $10 over time. This isn't motivational speaking. This is compound interest, the most powerful force in the universe when it comes to building wealth. Einstein may not have actually said it, but the principle remains true. Look, I'm not trying to steal your youth or tell you to live like a monk. I'm trying to save you from a financial disaster that will steal the rest of your life. The decisions you make in your 20s will determine whether you retire comfortably or work until you die. It's that simple, and it's that serious. If this video has opened your eyes, if you're ready to stop making excuses and start making money, take action right now. Hit that like button, leave a comment below, and tell me which of these 5 mistakes you're guilty of. Be honest. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now and become part of a community that chooses reality over fantasy. The choice is yours, Generation Z. You can keep making the same mistakes and join the ranks of the financially desperate, or you can wake up, grow up, and start building real wealth. But you can't do both. Now get out there and make the hard choices that your future self will thank you for. Your time is running out.